Hi guys, I wanted to do the video for today. This week you're going to have 2 worksheets on triangles. We're done with our parallel lines unit. Our next unit is going to be learning about triangles. So this is the first worksheet you're going to do, and for numbers 1 through 6, you're just classifying the triangles. You're telling me whether the triangle is isosceles, scalene, or equilateral. Now this is something you learned back in elementary school, but if you forgot, you can always Google or look up what an isosceles triangle is, what a scalene triangle, what an equilateral triangle, and I'm going to go through it with you right now. So an isosceles triangle are where 2 sides are equivalent, 2 sides have the same length, and then the third side is different. These little lines tell me that the lines are congruent, or the sides are congruent. This side is going to have the same measure as this side because it's an isosceles. And again, this little line right here tells me that this side and this side are congruent because of the little dash. So this one right here is going to be an isosceles triangle. And again, it's an isosceles triangle because 2 sides are equivalent. 2 sides are the same. They have the same measure. A scalene triangle is where none of the sides have the same measurement. No sides are the same. All 3 sides of the triangle are different. And so there's not going to be any tally marks. There's not going to be any lines because none of the sides are congruent. So this one's going to be scalene. And again, the scalene triangles, all 3 sides are different. And an equilateral triangle, all 3 sides are the same. Okay, all 3 sides have the same measure. So all 3 sides have that dash, have that tally mark. This one, and this one have that one dash, which means this side, and this side all have the same measure. So this one is equilateral. Okay, same thing goes for the angles. For an isosceles triangle, these 2 angles are the same. This one is different. So whatever this angle measure is, it's going to be the same as this angle measure. And then that one's going to be different. With scalene, all 3 angles are different. None of these 3 are going to be the same number. All 3 angles have different angle measures. Equilateral, all 3 angles are the same. Whatever this is going to be the same as this. It's going to be the same as this. Okay, our next lesson, we're going to talk about the triangle sum theorem, which you're going to learn that all 3 angles inside a triangle add up to 180. And you guys probably remember that from elementary school or from middle school. But all 3 angles add up to be 180. So for an equilateral triangle, you know they're all going to be 60 because they all have to be the same and they all have to add up to 180. So 60, 60, and 60. Okay, so you can do the other 3 on your own. Coming down to these ones, we're finding the value of x. We're finding our missing angle measures. Well, some are angles, some are sides, actually. So we know this is an isosceles triangle because of these 2 dashes. We know this side is going to have the same measure as this side. So we know this measure, this angle, is going to be the same as this one. So if this is 70, you know this one's 70 as well. And then this will be just a random number. But actually, since I just told you about the triangle sum theorem, which again is going to be our next lesson, you know if this is 70 and this is 70, well, that's 140. This one's going to have to be 40 to make up 180. Okay, but you're just finding x. So for this one, we know x is going to be 70 degrees because since it's an isosceles triangle, this angle and this angle are congruent. Okay, for number 9, we know, again, this is an equilateral. It's equilateral because all 3 sides are the same. This side, and this side, they all have the tally marks. So we know that if, and like I told you above, if this one's 60, obviously this one's going to be 62. Okay, and then the third one has to be 60 because we know they have to add up to 180. 8 and 10 shouldn't be on this worksheet, so if you want to skip them, that's fine. But you should be able to do them now knowing that the triangle sum theorem, that they have to add up to 180. This one is not 88. You have to look at the direction the lines are, or what, like, so this is an isosceles triangle. These 2 are congruent. So whatever x is going to be this one. And we don't know that one, but we know this one's 88. So this is going to be our next lesson, but I'm going to kind of jump ahead. So we know this one's also going to be x as well, because these 2, since it's an isosceles triangle, this one's going to be congruent to this one. So I have 2x, I have 1x plus 1x plus 88 equals 180. Subtract 88 from both sides, divide both sides by 2, that'll get you x. Okay, same exact thing for 10. Okay, you know this one's going to be 55. Because if this angle is 55, this one is going to be 55 because, again, it's an isosceles triangle. So whatever this one is, this one is. So 55 plus another 55 plus x equals 180. Combine your like terms, solve for x. Okay. For these two, for 11 and 12, you know this side is going to equal this side because it's isosceles, and they didn't give me the dash marks, but I know it's isosceles because of the angles. This angle and this angle is congruent. Because I have two congruent angles, it's isosceles. So that means this side is going to equal this side. So 7 is going to equal x plus 18. Okay, and then solve for x by minusing 7 to both sides. And yes, you'll get a negative number. With number 12, again, it's equilateral. I know it's equilateral because it's telling me these three angles have the same measure with this little symbol. So they didn't have to give me the tally marks, the little dash marks on the sides. I know it's equilateral because they're telling me these three angles are congruent. So if the three angles are congruent, then the three sides are going to be congruent, which means this side is going to equal this side and also is going to equal this side. So 2x minus 16 is going to equal 8. Minus 16 to both sides, divide by 2, and that'll get you x. Okay, this worksheet should not take you more than a few minutes. I just did kind of most of them with you, and then the first ones up at the top, you're just identifying which type of triangle they are. So this will be your first assignment for the week. I will post it here in a minute. Make sure you're showing me all your work and uploading it to Google Classroom, and then I'll give you your credit. Have a good day. Talk to you soon.